Welcome to this short presentation in which we will look at some of the key expectations for employers mentoring apprentices who are completing an apprenticeship at Nottingham Trent University. In this presentation, we'll look at the wider curriculum, a part of the apprenticeship which is not always apparent in the KSBs, is often overlooked, but a key part which is scrutinised by our legislators. We'll look at the range of skills you may need during discussions with your apprentice and reflect on the ones you may consider using given the situation they may find themselves in at that moment in time. There's a requirement from the university that you spend time with your apprentice, so we'll look at what that time guidance is and the things you might want to discuss in your meetings. And finally, whether you've been involved with mentoring or apprenticeships before, where can you look for support should you need it? The wider curriculum is an important area that often gets overlooked and is an area where employers can hone apprentices' knowledge, skills and behaviours to their company's mission and values. This part of the apprenticeship focuses around personal, social and professional development and requires that apprentices recognise how they have developed in these areas, some of which will be planned within the curriculum, for example, the skills involved in reporting to managers. However, some of it will not be planned, but may well be a transferable skill that will benefit them in the future. For example, the skills required to develop presentations and the confidence in using software to do so. Alternatively, it could be working to deadlines, writing reports, adapting management styles to different situations, etc., etc. The list is long, but does need consideration when talking to and reflecting with your apprentice. It is very important that they can recognise their personal development and how these skills may help them in the future. The government push their prevent and safeguarding agendas through apprenticeships, so there is a requirement that your apprentice is acutely aware of their social responsibilities as a citizen in the United Kingdom and aware of the threats that surround us and know what their responsibilities are within those threats. It is also an area our regulatory bodies require we evidence at inspection. These examples of skills are taken from the Indeed website and don't need much in the way of explanation other than to point out that different skills will be needed at different times with different apprentices and to recognise that a one-size-fits-all certainly does not apply when mentoring apprentices. The message is to be empathetic to the apprentices' workloads and pressures and to use the most appropriate approach where needed. The guidance from the university is ideally once per fortnight or a couple of hours per month. These times are recommended as a minimum and will vary depending on the stage the apprentice is at on their course and their workloads at that time. The important thing with meeting at regular intervals is to keep on top of where the apprentice is in their apprenticeship. Use the time to allow them to review and reflect on their progress and discuss whether actions and deadlines need to be revisited or are still appropriate. Many employers provide the apprentice with an additional couple of hours each week to write any reflections that are needed, update any progress against their actions, and upload any evidence to their e-portfolio. This additional time helps them to keep on top of their commitments and workloads. During your regular meetings with your apprentice, we recommend you discuss the following. It's not a definitive list or required at every meeting. So how are they coping with their commitments? What additional support do they need, if any? Are they on track to meet the actions set at the previous meeting? Does anything need changing or amending in terms of deadlines or outcomes? Are there any issues or barriers that need to be overcome? Are the apprentices recording their off-the-job hours every month? Does their off-the-job log look as it should for the stage they are at in their apprenticeship? What have they been doing in the workplace since the last review, and how is it helping them develop KSBs? Is there anything they can evidence in their portfolio as a result? Have they completed any other training, in-house training perhaps, that they can use as evidence towards their knowledge, skills or behaviours? This could be a discussion around what opportunities there might be in the workplace that may help them provide additional evidence and supplementary evidence to their knowledge, skills and behaviours. How are they going with their reflections? Are they up to date? Do they identify the KSBs they have developed or are in the process of developing? Are they engaging with functional skills if needed? If so, what is their progress? Do they need any additional support? Have they revisited prior reflections to update them if needed? Are they still appropriate? Can they add anything else to them? And finally, what might they need from you? What support do they need? What support can you give? Or can you signpost them to any external support mechanisms if they need some? And finally, we're aware that mentoring a colleague can also impact on you and your workloads. This slide identifies the key people internally and externally who may be able to provide support or where additional resources can be found. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch and listen to this video. We hope you found it useful and informative.